What is going on, All Terrain Nation? Whether it be two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, or this big guy over here I like to hang out with from time to time. This is your All
Oof.
Terrain Nation, and I'm your host, David Boyd. What is
Look,
up, Tim?
there, you, you had me, you had me scared there for a minute. I thought I was going to be that guy over there that you like to drive, and I was going to say, man, this is not the kind of show I signed up for.
Right,
No, sir. No,
right.
sir.
That would be the wrong live stream. But this is your All Terrain Nation, and tonight it is the happy hour. If you're new to the channel, the happy hour is anything goes as far as automotive. And I guess I need to be clear with that for Tim as well. Anything goes
Yep.
automotively. We
Automotive.
like to talk the news that is trending, and we'll go from there. But first off, Tim, how are you been, buddy? It's been a minute.
It has been doing good. It's getting a little warm here in Indiana today. It's up, I think it's been in the 90s last couple of days with about 175% humidity. So very much like Florida weather.
Yep. What is up, John? Let's see. We got both Johns in here. We got Bronco 78, Valley Dude. Dirk is in the house. Honest. Happy Tuesday to you. And it's a happy Tuesday brought to you by some Bullet tonight. So I may need a lot of this tonight. So who knows? Oh man, it's been a day. It's been a week. So I've been off for 2 weeks. We talked a little bit about this last Monday. But getting back into the scheme of things with my normal 9 to 5 and trying to do this, and Papa Bear here is a little worn out, but the happy hour will happen. So Tim bugs me when I miss these shows. So he's like, "Hey, are we doing this tonight?" And I'm like,
It does.
"Like, dude,
I live for this. This is my entire week revolves around tonight. That's it.
Well, that's
I kick my kids out. I kick my wife out of the house. No noise. Can't have any noise. No background noise because we are doing a live stream in the happy hour. Yeah,
we got Mach-E fan is in the house, and Mach-E fan may not like what Ford's got going on there. I don't know if you've heard the news lately, but we'll get to that. We got Peugeot, legendary Peugeot is in the house. We got G. Willikers is in the house, and then many more pop in, I'm sure. Zachary Rogers right away, man. What is up, dude? Let's see what he's got to say here. How's it going, guys? Missed the last couple shows because of orders in Guam. Glad to hear from the channel again. Like, thank you for your service, man. For one thing, Guam never sounds like a fun time. So
one day I will tell you about my story of the Taco Bell
in Guam.
In Guam, yeah, absolutely.
That sounds like a shitty time, sir.
Yeah.
But thank you for that super chat. As always, the super chats and stuff do help the channel, so we greatly appreciate that. And if you ever want to really support the channel, the very cheapest way is a membership. So hit that button, do whatever. We do a couple little things for you. But that's all the sales points I'm doing tonight. This show is not about that. This show is about the happy hour. And Tim, there's been some news. I said it last night. There's in the auto journalism world right now, there's just not a lot to cover. Everybody's kind of gearing up for the fall. By July, a lot of factories start transitioning over their 23 models. I know Bronco won't do it till November, which I think in next year I'd probably be September, and then they'll get it on its normal schedule. But yeah, so right now it's like very news is hit or miss. But news for the Ford Mach-E. Tim, I know you would we kind of discussed this slightly, and I want to let me pop this up in the screen, and we'll go from there. Maybe if I can push the right buttons tonight. There it is.
Share.
Little gnat. I had a banana up here, man, and a stupid little gnat.
There you go.
Will not go away. All right, so Ford issues stop sales of electric Mustang Mach-E crossovers due to potential safety defect. And what my understanding of what's happening, there's something overheating in the car, and we'll get into this a little bit. So Ford, and this is from CNBC, Ford is instructing dealers to temporarily stop selling electric Mustang Mach-E crossovers due to a potential safety defect that could cause the vehicle to become immobile. Immobile or catch fire, I think. Either way, it would probably be immobile. But the issues can lead to a malfunction that can cause the vehicle to not start or immediately lose power. Did I get you, little bastard? The problem is notable, and as automakers continue to have problems launching new electric vehicles, Ford in recent years has also experimented with problematic vehicle launches. And Tim, what do you know about this, man? Anything?
Not a whole lot. You know, I'm going to speculate that they probably got some undersized wiring for the load.
Yeah,
and they're having some issues with it. That'd be my speculation. I don't know this for a fact. I think it's gonna. to be interesting. I don't know if they've are asking people to stop driving them, or just get into your dealer as soon as possible to do the recall. I mean,
Well, let's see.
that's the big question there.
Yeah, nearly 49,000 of the roughly 100,000 Mach-E's produced during this time frame will be part of the recall, Ford spokesman told CNBC. The problem, here it says, potential overheating of the vehicle's high voltage battery
Mhm.
main connectors,
Oh.
which is electrically controlled switch man, if I could speak, for a power circuit. The issues can lead to a malfunction that could cause the vehicle to not start or immediately lose propulsion power while in motion, the notice states. Yeah, that's basically half. It says 100,000, but I guarantee they haven't sold they might have sold 100,000 of these by now, but they've that's half of what they've sold is going to be on recall, and they're going to have to. I guarantee it. I know it says in one of the articles I read earlier today, it talked about an over-the-air update that could potentially fix this, but I don't. I think they're going to have to probably bring these in for service. Is what I'm thinking. They're going to want to check some things out, right?
Oh, I would think so. And also reading into the article there, it did sound like it's a connector.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, either the software, maybe it can be dialed back on the draw, the current load of the going through the connector, or I don't know. To me, it sounds like they're going to probably have to bring him in and replace materials.
I would think so. Even though if it's an over-the-air issue, I'm sure it's pretty interesting the way EVs are going to work as far as they'll be able to over-the-air kind of, kind of a Star Trek-y thing. Like they're going to be able to divert power from this over to there, to keep the vehicles running. But it's also kind of a scary thing. I'm glad my V8s of the older days, you didn't have to worry about Ford sending something over, or the V8 never started.
You sounded Canadian there for a minute, eh?
Oh yeah, eh?
No, well, and actually, a lot of that is not much different than our Broncos and any of the newer vehicles that any of the manufacturers are putting out. I mean, they're dropping updates down to these vehicles and being able to make, I'm not gonna say changes on the fly, but at least new updates to programming, and so they can fix a lot of it, because the majority of this is software defined.
Mm-hmm.
The hardware is just basically, it's there, it lays underneath, and then you have your software overlay on top of it,
Right.
that actually does everything. So and this is
so you're telling me there's not a carburetor in this thing, is what you're saying?
Well, no, I don't think so.
What about fuel injection? Is there fuel injection in this, Tim?
In the Mach-E?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Oh,
nope.
Damn it, man.
Nope.
No.
Not even a spot for it at Buc-ee's.
Man. That's a bummer. Speaking of that, we did take the Kia G EV6 inline to Buc-ee's, and I didn't put it in a video that we did, because somehow part of it got messed up, but we pulled into a Buc-ee's gas thing, and we were going to do this funny thing where Kelly was going to act like, oh, I'm trying to get gas in this thing, and I was going to be the asshole who's like, hey, damn it, don't take the fuels. But but no, this is kind of a bummer. The Mach-E's had a couple little problems, but nothing big, I would say. It's been for a new technology vehicle for Ford, it's been pretty pretty okay launch for them, even though they've had their handful of issues. Let's see. Deep says Ford has submitted a recall petition to the NHTSA, which handles all such matters. The federal vehicle safety watchdog did not immediately respond to confirm the filing. Ford expects to offer a solution for the problem in the third quarter, which is we're a month or so away from that. According to the bulletin, Mach-E Mustang owners will be notified via mail after the repair instructions and parts ordering information have been provided to dealers. So, so there's your first little headache of EV problems with Ford. And we've talked in a few of these shows where, EV is a little more simple, but it's simple till you need a damn software engineer to get into it, right?
Yeah, although seeing that last part of the article there and waiting until the third quarter to do that, to me it doesn't sound like it's that big of a deal. Either it's not going to start, or you're just going to lose power while it's driving.
Yeah.
And we've all seen Mitchell Watts's video where he ran the Mach-E out to zero, and
I've yet to watch that video.
it's a good video. It's a good video.
Yeah.
And yeah, so he ran it all the way till it would not go any further, and and he basically had died on the off ramp there, just around the corner from the dealership. But yeah,
Well,
interesting video. So I guess I'm assuming if it just dies while it's in motion, it's going to be just like like a ice engine running out of gas. You're just going to slowly coast down to nothing.
well, speaking of coasting down to nothing, I know you had talked about this a little bit privately. The tax credits is a big deal right now, and let me pull the article up, but there's a big push that they got, what was it? They got so many, was it vehicle sales, like 200,000 vehicle sales or something like
So
that?
yep, each manufacturer got 200,000 credits of, well, the manufacturer didn't. The consumer could get a $7,500 tax credit,
Right.
For buying a plug-in vehicle.
And I think some states added like another 3,500 or something on top of that.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the states. So the article, Tesla and I think GM have already hit their cap. Toyota is coming up on it. We talked about that a few weeks ago, and I think Ford is somewhere in there. But just this week, the CEOs of Ford, GM, Stellantis, Toyota wrote a letter to the senior leadership in Congress, basically asking for an extension of an unlimited extension of a continued $7,500 tax credit for every vehicle, with I believe no cap on it. That's what they're requesting.
Right.
And the Mach-E runs on 200 AAA batteries, by the way, according to Honest. So, but yeah, and I tell you, I've always had this thought. I believe in the free market. That's essentially free license to any manufacturer to add $7,500 to the cost of their vehicle.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Just about any time
Definitely.
something gets subsidized, that cost goes up. And that to me looks like corporate welfare on the backs of the taxpayer.
No, it's kind of a bummer, honestly, because I mean, I was for the tax credits when they were doing it early. I mean, this is early on. And not to push people into EVs, but to give an incentive to people that can afford it to because EVs are still not cheap. So I understood, like, hey, let's just kind of spark that industry a little bit. So, trust me, gas and everything else is very subsidized. It's how things happen. But
I don't think gas is subsidized.
I think some of the
taxed,
oil,
ridiculously taxed.
I think some of the oil companies are pretty subsidized. I'll look for the article in a minute. But the federal government gets their hand in anything. It's never a good time for either party, honestly. Because now what's happened is these major manufacturers are getting addicted to that extra little bit of chunk of change there. And in my opinion, that's kind of a bad deal. I'm a capitalist at heart, man, and I like the market to decide, do we want to adopt this or do we don't? And if manufacturers, I know the federal government, especially the current administration, has been pushing hard to make EV the standard, but it doesn't happen overnight. And if these things that happen overnight, in my opinion, usually it's a bad time in the end when you push so hard to make things happen. And when the federal government once again gets involved, in my opinion, Tim, it's a sticky situation, because then you start taking their money and they have a say in how you do things.
And I don't disagree. And just some ballpark numbers: $7,500 on a 200,000 units is $1.5 billion. And they're basically asking that to be open-ended now.
Yes.
And I look at it, it's I don't think, I think the market's there. I think people are there's always going to be a kind of holdouts on gasoline engines. internal combustion engines. There's probably going to be a market for it, and certain transportation type, trucking and things like that. But I think every major auto manufacturer has got EV in their portfolio now,
Yeah.
and are basically planning on replacing, in the next 2030, I think is what most of them is. They're at least wanting. I think the government's wanting at least 50% EV.
I think Mach-E fan here has his numbers mixed up. I don't think it would be 2,000 billion a year, maybe 200 billion a year. But I know the oil industry is somewhat subsidized. It's one of those things nobody likes talking. Neither party likes talking about it, because then that money gets returned back to the people in Washington somehow. So they don't like to talk about it, but there is a little bit of incentive for them to drill and stuff. And of course, our current president right now is, he had his big whisper moment again. He likes to whisper. I don't understand it. And this show's not political by any means, but I love when he just goes, "I'll get in there, 9,000 permits." And I'm like, what? Who taught this guy that if you whisper, you get their attention? That cracks me up. But so automakers, like we were saying, they'd like to drop this cap, and I'm curious where you guys are at with this, because once again, it's not a good time. And we got the gas guzzling, or EV guzzler there on the headlines of the Hummer, which is basically the equivalent of a H1. Like when it comes down to how much it takes to power that damn thing, kind of a bad time. I looked like you were going to step in there, Tim. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. I was looking at Mobile Moto had a comment. He said high gas prices, where'd it go? Basically have zero to do with adoption of EV. And I'm not going to argue with that.
I would disagree with that one.
I mean, you think about it. You start looking at, I just $92 today, put $92 in my truck, for about 17 gallons. And, are people going to say, well, I can't afford $5.15 a gallon, a couple times a week. Do I have $50 or $60 or $70,000 to drop on an EV, even with a $7,500 tax credit?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And is the availability there right now anyways? So I'd have to say that I kind of agree with them. I mean, they're targeting people with high gas prices, I think, to try to force people into buying EVs, but the cost of the EVs may not be something that somebody can buy.
Well, I would
afford to buy. I mean, some people have to drive shit boxes.
Oh yeah, no.
That's not a slide on it or anything, but that's what it is. I mean,
well, and usually shit boxes aren't 40 mile per gallon things either. But the way I see it though is, obviously oil companies, and I'm speculating here on how the government and all the works, but usually when one side's in, one form of our industry seems to do better than when the other side's in. And currently the Democrat side in there, they're going to push for, EV stuff right now. That's a big cause on their half. So I think definitely there's some gouging going on. But I think that these EV companies kind of know the writing's on the wall at some point, or these fuel companies are, and it's like, hey, we're going out with a bang too, man. And while a lot of them, like if you ever watch the doc, What Killed the Electric Vehicle, it talks at the end who bought up the battery tech. It was ExxonMobil, and all these people bought those battery companies up and shut them all down,
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know. I feel though, like people like, I'm trying to get my thoughts out here. I feel like with the higher prices right now, it definitely people start going, oh man, that EV, because no EV is stupid techie about how to figure out how many miles you're actually getting per kilowatt. It's a new math that us Americans are going to have to learn, I think, down the road. And so it's very confusing, and people are just go, oh, well, EV's better. The talking heads on TV constantly tell me the EV is better. So I'm just going to go to that, since gas prices are, in California, what, $8 a gallon, something like that.
I kind of equate the ICE versus EV relationship in the same light that I do Android versus iOS. I mean, there's going to be fanboys on both sides, and a lot of people are just going to stick to one or the other because they think it's easier, and that's how it is. You know, I think there'll be a group of people. I'm not interested in necessarily having an EV per se, but I guess eventually at some point when I can't afford to buy
I
an
have
ICE engine,
I have a
I will.
reservation for one. If I ever see it, who knows? But
Yeah.
yeah, no. So this article gets into the $7,500 federal EV tax credits. It's been used to entice customers or consumers to make a greener purchase decisions. And see, that's where I think that, like I was saying earlier, I think it's this is greener, even though the jury's out on whether EV is technically greener. But the CEOs of Ford, GM, Stellantis, and Toyota sent letters to congressional leadership asking them to eliminate the sales-based tax credit cap. And let's just keep the good times going, Tim. Let's not even worry. Because you know what would happen with that? If they took a cap away, it would get forgotten about. And
Yeah.
then these it would just be standard.
Mm-hmm.
And for the rest of our earthly lives, there would be this cap. And then in 10, 15 years, they're going to go, oh man, this tech's getting expensive. We're going to have to bump that up to 10K per. And it would just, it's to keep money flowing in DC is what I feel like ultimately this is.
I feel like this is one of those kind of issues that politicians use to keep themselves in office.
Yeah, no, definitely.
It's there's table issues and stuff like that. Then there's gravy train issues, and
well, so
this is gonna be a gravy train issue.
Let's look at this. So let's see. Where was it? So I have a Chevy Silverado EV reservation. Will I ever see this? Like, is GM going to miss the mark on it? Supposedly 23. I don't know whether I see it then or it's going to be 24. But so by the time it gets to me, there's definitely no, that vehicle is probably going to be easily $60,000 for me. And I'm not going for a loaded out, decked out one. I'm just looking at the very kind of entry level vehicle because they're doing work truck versions and stuff, and they claim what it was like. I want to say that it was like 30, mid 30s is what the work truck model should be. And you go, okay, $7,500 credit that might get it down to 30. In my case, I'm looking 50 to 60. Hopefully I could get it closer to 50, but you've teased these customers or consumers for a long time that these tax credits and now that the big push is there, there's no incentive for me to want to buy that vehicle, Tim.
Well, so real quick, and I might have missed it. The Silverado that you're looking at, the EV version, where does that compare in price to the gas model?
They haven't released any pricing yet.
No pricing.
No pricing. It's much like the Bronco. You reserve something that you've never seen.
Okay.
And even a few weeks ago, GM decided that the doors that they put, the interior of it, they're redoing all that, revamping it all. And I don't know, but it is based on their I can't think of what the name of their battery tech's called right now, but it's all based on GM. Maybe wisely is just doing the skateboard version of how they do the layouts and stuff. It's all going to be shared through the whole GM. So Buick, when they want one, it's going to be the same tech. Chevy, GMC. So go ahead with your thoughts, though, Tim.
Oh no, I was just wondering, is there? So we got the Lightning and the F-150, and that's probably, at least on the body, a comparison of something you could do. Maybe a side-by-side build spec as close as possible. I'm just kind of curious, what are we looking, or what are consumers looking at on a price difference on a, I know you can't do same, but if it was the same car, different power plants.
So here's what we're talking about, by the way. If you're if you've not heard, this came out last fall. I want to say last fall is when I put my reservation in. But no, as far as my understanding, they have not done any, there's no real pricing on this thing. Oh, now available starting in summer of 24. And 39,000 plus DFC is what it looks like it's starting at. And I imagine that's the work truck version. The RST is the more sporty version, which I kind of would want. I don't want the EV work truck, I know. But okay, so here it is. So
Kinda
future
looks gorgeous.
variations will offer ranges of MSRPs from 50, 60, 70, 80, and more, depending on the selected battery range.
And more.
Yeah. And features. Man, this stupid little gnat's been up here for 2 days. Oh, there he is. Oh, did I get you finally? I hope I got that stupid ass gnat. But there's the multi-flex tailgate, which they're going to charge you for, the pass-through panoramic glass, all this stuff they're going to charge you for that really has nothing to do with the batteries of it. But as you can see, the batteries, where's it at? Because I can't remember what they call their battery system. I don't know. Somebody in comments, let me know if you know what they call their battery setup. But it's
Battery.
a battery, a Duracell. But they probably the $50,000 range is the one I would be looking at. So yeah, you go okay, $7,500, mid 50s, maybe brings it 49. That seems reasonable for a pickup truck. But the problem is Chevy's claiming 400 miles on this thing. And guess what? I'm not going to get for $50K. You know you're not getting the 400-mile range on that.
Well, if you're going to use it to tool around and, go to the Home Depot and, go down and straight to the quad, you may not need all that. Go straight down to the quad.
Yeah.
Or the Bed Bath & Beyond or whatever it was.
Well, so some of the prices of this too, they do not include that little wall charger you see up behind you. A lot of times you have to pay extra for that stuff. It's not included in the price of the vehicle, which I think should be initially right now. Maybe that's where we do the subsidies, is that the federal government goes, okay, hey, we'll pay for we've talked about the infrastructure, getting some of this set up for the past few streams now. Maybe that's a way that the federal government could start adoption.
You know what? I don't know if Dwayne Rock Wild Outdoors is in the chat or watching the live stream, but
Ultium,
I know
yeah,
he has
right.
mentioned on homes that they refurbish to resell, that they include that kind of stuff. They build that in, so it's taken care of as for the next owner.
Maybe there's some
just
incentive.
ballpark. I wonder what something like that would cost.
Maybe it's
put in the house.
3,000 or more, I think, is what those little adapters cost. But Ultium is the name of the battery. Thank you, Mobile, for saying that, because I knew I couldn't.
Well, right now, $3,000, a couple $100 for an electrician, and we're still doing better than the 7,500, and I would feel better about that.
Right. Well, Ford has the deal where, if you want to, you can charge your house off of this for up to 3 days. Well, for Ford, I forget, that's a $20,000 option.
Charge your house off
the
your
house.
truck?
So yeah, if the electricity went out in your neighborhood, you could charge or plug your house into your vehicle. I would assume GM's working on something like that as well.
So what kind of load is that rated for?
BS.
I mean, because are we talking a couple lights? Are we talking the refrigerator?
It says the whole house is what if I remember right, Ford's claimed on this.
We talking 3 TVs and the air conditioning running. I mean, I'm kind of curious. I mean, that's a pretty bold statement to say you could run your house for 3 days, but what does that actually? What's that actually mean? And you can't even run the engine to keep the battery charged. So.
Well, so I talked to somebody in the industry one time, and they're talking about adding generators to EV vehicles. So, you're going to be electric, but you will have the option that you can charge your vehicle with gasoline power.
Wouldn't that be hybrid?
Well, yes, you would think so. But let's go to the Ford Lightning, because I feel like I'm definitely talking out of my ass with this thing, because the Lightning, I've had zero interest in the Lightning. Zero interest in that thing. I know. Where was it?
I do know it has a traditional spare tire holder underneath the bed.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
I saw that in a video somewhere.
All right. So Lightning. Oh, Lightning starting at, let's throw this up here. Starting at $39,947 with a potential $7,500 tax credit, Tim. So you're potentially going to get that.
It's interesting. So that article that you're reading, Ford and Toyota are all probably going to, run out of their tax credits this year. So that's probably why the potential's there.
Well, you know what? Oh, definitely. But you know what's funny with this is John says TFL is on a little trip back to Colorado with their Ford Lightning. Yeah, I've seen a little bit of that. I need to reach out to Nathan about that. And speaking of TFL, we have Tommy going to be on the Bronco show, the Monday show next week. So you're going to want to join in on that. And maybe we can get some Ford Lightning questions in there. But did you see TC Customs has already lifted a Lightning? They got one in and lifted it. They had a video drop. I haven't got to see it.
I saw that, and I do not believe that is the video on it. I think it has something else as far as optioning the video or optioning it.
Okay.
But I haven't seen the video. But
well, they talked about a video dropping soon, so I thought I saw something today. Of course, they're going to hide that.
Hey, maybe we should just host a watch party of PC Customs video right here, right now.
Yeah, that would be fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
There, look, it's showing it's powering up the house there, Tim. Now Janet there can get her blender back out and get those margaritas going again. Look at that. Look, honey, watch this. I've got 250 miles left, but hey, sure, we've got electricity for the dinner guests to come over, but hey, we're not driving anywhere.
Yeah, well, I think that'll rapidly dwindle when you plug your microwave in, and
I would think
cook some Jiffy Pop.
Hey, you gotta have that Jiffy Pop, man. I don't want to search this thing right now because I didn't want to go too deep in the EV. EV
and by the way,
world.
John Whitteman's pointing out about the fire here. Good news is that fire, it's zero emissions,
really,
no carbon neutral, and produces no heat. So it's completely safe for the environment.
I worry because your beer gets close to it at times, and I would hate you catch fire.
It does.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's see. Kevin GR says, yeah, the 2.7 is being investigated by the feds. I would use the term investigated pretty lightly with that. All they're doing is calling the people that's had some issues and be like, hey, what was your experience? That's their form of investigating right now.
Now, when they say the feds, are we talking the National Traffic Highway Safety place? Or are we talking the Insurance Institute thing?
The highway safeties who will look into that, I believe. And Peugeot says 150 miles traveled in my Bronco, 33.33. 150 miles in the Lightning is 33.94. I wouldn't doubt. I don't doubt it. The math behind the EVs is, I don't know if it's purposely confusing, but that we need to figure that we need to, our current administration is talking about, we need a standard plug. I know you were talking about that privately, Tim.
Yeah.
That they're pushing to get a standard plug for this, which I'm all for. That's one thing. Like, I've often wondered why everybody went against what Tesla was doing. I don't know if Tesla has that's their proprietary plug, or if people are like, I'll be damned if I'm using what Tesla does, because then that means people might want to buy a Tesla. Whatever weird, wacky reasons that people don't want to use the same plug. But yeah, that's one thing with EVs. They have to have a standard plug.
Well, so I don't know much about Tesla's technology. I have seen that Elon Musk has said, as far as all the Tesla patents, they've made them open for any.
Tim's froze.
There he
goes. There's Tim.
Yep. If they need to use the old patents to advance their technology, he's all for it, because that just brings more into the industry. And he sees their company still being out front innovating. So
right.
I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's probably more people just didn't want to use it because it was Tesla, or other companies didn't want to use it because it was theirs.
Yeah, I could see that. Plus, depending on how their battery tech works, I'm sure there's some weird, we have to have 5 prongs instead of the whatever. So I could definitely see that. But to wrap up the tax credit thing, Tim, you brought this to my attention that a U.S. senator likely would block passage of the EV tax credits. Canada minister. What is this headline, man? I don't get this.
So if you scroll down just a little bit on the below the picture there, it talks about it, and it's the Canadian Minister of Natural Resources was talking that it looks like maybe Joe Manchin's probably going to block that. Now they have to have a 60 vote supermajority in the House because of the whatever the thing is. I don't know what it is. I try to stay out of politics, but so with that, I mean, right now, if they need, it's basically 50-50 with the vice president being the tiebreaker. So if Joe Manchin votes against it, then that basically, that won't go through.
Right. Well, some of this was a big thing of like the current administration was pushing that it has to be, only for UAW labor and stuff like that, which I was like, whoa. That's showing your cards a little too, like, who's backing you.
Yeah. I think that's
if you're a UAW member and you're watching the show, nothing against you guys, but that's Biden going, you know who pet me? The UAW.
Yeah. So if you read the next paragraph down in that article, no, up above the missing advertisement there, it actually talks about that for 12,000 tax credits, including an additional 4,500 for union made U.S. assembled vehicles.
Yes, which that seems a little that's not very capitalist in my opinion. That's very we're forcing you more into where we want you to be.
So for GM union, don't think Toyota is.
Nope.
Tesla's probably not.
No, Tesla is not at all.
Nissan?
Nope.
No.
I mean, not in the United States.
Not in the United States.
I don't know globally where some of these companies are.
I know at least Ford and GM have manufacturing in Canada. I don't know, if the EVs are specifically made there or whatever. It also looks like another $500 for US made batteries. And I could probably see, okay, maybe the US government shouldn't subsidize stuff made in another country. I could see that one, but I don't necessarily, I can't see them saying that, it has to be a union shop versus a non-union shop here inside of the United States.
Yeah. Well, but they're already doing it anyways. Any $7,500 credit they're currently offering, there was no stipulations like this put on it. So they've already been subsidizing Toyota and all these other companies.
Well, yeah. I think that was their push last year for going beyond the 2,000 units or 200,000 units. It was their thing. Now the auto manufacturers are just saying, hey, you know what? Let's just hide that. Let's just lift that cap and not worry about it. And we'll still be collecting it 10 years from now.
Yeah.
And 20.
But let's see. How do they end this thing? Let's see. There's a wait list on EVs right now. A wait list. I think that's a way to spin there's a wait list on any vehicle, you could say. I mean, I don't think you just have to say EVs, right?
Yeah, I would say so, yeah.
Yeah, I love the spin of that. There's a wait list for EVs right now with fuel prices at $4 per gallon, but they still want us to throw 5 to 7 to 12,000 credits to buy electric vehicles. It makes no sense whatsoever to me, the senator said. So I don't know. I'm sure his election is coming up, so I'm sure he wants to look tough on the pig that is the federal government. So I don't know on that, Tim. I'm ultimately on this. I feel like we get just enough information that we almost think we know something and I'm talking as the general public, but then all the back deals are made and we don't know half of what's going on with this crap. And it bums me out because I love cars. I even like EV cars. But at the end of the day, man, they're taking so much fun out of all the vehicles that it's not even fun. Like EVs, when you get in them, that instant torque is pretty cool for the first 15 times you do it. And after that, you're just like, this is a boring shit box. And I hate to be like that because a lot of the little cars they're just normal commuter shit boxes. Yeah, they're not the cool fun Porsches or the hybrid Ferraris.
Let's make shit boxes great again.
That's right, man.
I think that we should never mind. We'll talk about that offline.
I got a t-shirt idea.
Yeah, Didn't want you to say that out loud.
Oh, our audience is not dumb, Tim. But no, that would be a fun t-shirt. But Tim, what other things you've been looking at? I know you've been scouring up some news.
So you know, and I can't remember if I sent you the article or not, but there was an article in one of the auto magazines about actually EV companies having to step up their game on quality of materials inside the vehicle because you don't have the engine hiding a lot of those noises. And I know you get the Bronco off road, and sometimes on road, it can be a little squeaky.
Well, yeah. So this is I didn't mean to cut in on you, but no, with the EVs, they're so quiet that you start hearing road noise, and it's something people aren't used to because you actually hear the tires rolling, rolling down the road, and they're trying to figure out ways of how do we hide this. Let's see if I can find
piped in white noise, I think.
Road noise. Let's see if I can find what you're kind of talking about on that.
Oh, isn't that list of articles I sent over?
Was it? I'm looking.
Looking. Might have been. I sent so many.
I know you're just all over. There it is. I found it. There we go. There's some Tim news right there.
Yep.
So what do we got going on here, Tim?
I don't know. I was expecting you to read it.
I was expecting you to read it.
I can't. I need on my screen.
Oh, well, okay. So electric vehicles pose a series of new challenges for automotive designers and engineers, well beyond the need to eke out every ounce of energy from the large battery packs hidden under the floor. Without an internal combustion engine creating the four-stroke soundtrack of spinning belts, pistons, pumping exhaust tones, and often forced inductions, there isn't much auditory experience for the vehicle's occupants. In the age of EV, it boils down to wind noise, road noise, and whatever tunes are playing on the stereo. So I think this is going to be more of an adoption thing that people are going to have to kind of learn to adopt. That there's new sounds,
or lack of sounds, right?
Yes.
I think they should pipe in some blowout valve noise. While you're shifting gears. When the transmission shifts.
Like we'll turn these things into the Fast and the Furious, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And they can shift gears like 17 times, and you never had your car. Joe says his Bronco is squeak free. Mine's pretty squeak free. We did notice since I've added the diabolical enclosure on the trails, very slight little click every once in a while. But I think even in the materials I got from Diabolical, it recommends every so often just checking the bolt tighten, make sure everything's tight and you're good to go. My Bronco's pretty quiet.
Yeah, I've picked up a little bit of noise. I've got the table on the tailgate, and that is solid.
Is that a JCR table?
That is a JCR table. I have not had any problems with it. The one thing I have noticed, I pulled the side molding the panel out and everything. I pulled the deck out. I popped a snap, so I gotta order some replacement snaps and everything like that so I can do that. I picked up a little bit of noise from that. It's not bad, but it's there.
Well, you start tearing apart your vehicles like that. That's bound to creep in there. But no, mine's been pretty the only issue we had is the other day the door started popping. And I opened the door. I was like, I went to shut it and I noticed it. And I opened the door and Kelly didn't have the bolt tightened down all the way and it fell out. So I had to put the bolt back in and that solved that problem. But it was, I was like, are you effing kidding me, man? So I went through and checked all the bolts after Mama Bear went through it and tightened them down. So shouldn't happen again. But
did you pull out the torque wrench?
Do what?
Did you pull out the torque wrench?
Oh yeah, man! I went all factory spec on that. I don't think you could get a torque wrench in between the door and
35 Newton meters.
Is that what it is?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, I thought you.
Read your manual.
I was like, damn, Tim knows his stuff on this thing.
Yeah, I tell you what, that's my standard answer for I hear most people bitching on Facebook. I just write, well, what's your manual say?
Yeah. Oh, I
So,
love your comments for that. Yeah.
yeah. What's your manual say?
You have a built-in manual in most cars now.
Oh yeah,
Built into the head unit.
absolutely. On your phone.
Terrence Mooney says his Mustang is loud and his neighbors hate me at 5:30 in the morning. But yeah, you know, that's the fun of that car, really. Of course, you
Oh, I
know,
don't.
I've grown accustomed to the remote starts, and my company vehicle doesn't have it. And I look at it out at the street on them cold, wintry days, and I'm just like looking my sad excuse for a key fob, and I'm just like, damn it, I gotta go all the way out there to warm the vehicle up. I don't have an app for that.
I back in the days when car alarms and stuff like that were
Mhm.
you know big and popular. I had one in my car, and my neighbors pissed and moaned about it because I would come in at like 10 or 11 o'clock at night and
Right.
chirp chirp honk or whatever it did. And sorry, locking
Yeah.
my doors.
Yep. Hey, in your article here, it says Pirelli is experimenting with noise canceling tires. That's nutty.
That'd be interesting.
Integrates a thick layer of polyurethane foam glued inside the tire along the tread line that makes it very perceptible difference in the subject road noise in passenger vehicles, he says. That's all you need is something else in your tire to fail, right?
Well, if they're just thickening up the inner lining of the tire, it's probably not that big of a deal, but
Well,
it's
they
got to
show it
add
right.
weight. It's got to add weight to it, right?
Yeah, rolling
And
resistance. EVs hate that.
that's going to add weight to it. Although the weight of the air itself isn't much. I looked into that when I was trying to figure out like how much one of those tires weighed on the Bronco.
Mhm.
Because and I think they're right around 90 pounds, at least with the factory Sasquatch wheels, or Sasquatch wheels, as somebody pronounced it. I heard that one day on a live stream. I giggled, but so they're about 90 pounds. The air itself is negligible, but I mean, I don't know how much extra, how dense that is. They're obviously filling up that void.
Yeah.
But I think my guess is they're probably just trying to make that denser to absorb some of that sound.
Right. No,
I might be wrong. I'm not
the tech,
I'm not a
like,
biologist.
you're going to see, I think, a massive with this tech stuff. You're going to see, like, in 20 years, like, what we've thought for the last 60 years of driving is going to just be completely different. And can you imagine, like, getting to where tires now you have to go, well, what size do I need? Okay, how do these handle on the road? Well, what's the dBs of these tires? What's the decibels of these tires versus Pirelli versus Goodyear? Like that, and that's coming, I think.
I think we should go back to solid wooden tires. I think we'll be a lot better off. Solid wooden tires with metal bands around the outside.
Right. Hey, here's a company I've not talked or even thought about in a long time, even though it was my first car. And where's it at? I got all this crap up here. I gotta find this. Where are you at? Well, you'd think I could find my badge. Damn it. This is gonna piss me off.
And this was Shipbox Stories with Dave.
Sorry, Tim. I know it's dead air.
Yeah, dead air.
Well, I can't look for it. I had the badge to my first vehicle sitting back there, Tim. I got in an accident and kept the front emblem off of it, but it was a Buick. And Buick is teasing its new Wildcat concept. And that's a good looking vehicle, man.
That is not your grandfather's Cadillac or Buick there. I'm sorry.
No,
but, yeah, that is a sharp looking car.
Yeah, that's something that I could drive, I think. And I wouldn't call it a Buick though.
They're also, I think they're also have redesigned the Buick logo too.
They
Still the
have,
three things, but they're a little slightly different now.
yeah, you can kind of see it right here. I'll pull up the new logo, but no, for Buick, Buick is one of those brands that would be dead if it wasn't for China. It's the Cadillac of China for whatever reason. The Buick, something about the World War II vehicles that they got were the nice Buicks, and they were just well thought of there. But this Wildcat concept, man, that I really dig that a lot, man. I like that it almost feels throwback, but it's not. It's a little futuristic, but not too crazy. Build that as is right there, and you're gonna sell some vehicles.
Oh, I think so. That is a sharp looking car.
Yeah, even the interior. I mean, obviously some of the stuff interior you have to worry about crash, crash ratings and stuff. You can't have the sharp edge dash like that, or else a little Timmy would shove his head through the air vent somehow, and you know, you'd be missing
More
a little
power to
Timmy.
little Timmy.
Well, there'd be a lot of power because I'm sure this is all EV, so it'd be
Mhm.
yeah. I guess you just if you had to stop real quick and little Timmy went into the dash, you just gun it and the torque just throws Timmy back out of the dash, right?
Timmy's a dumbass for not wearing a seatbelt.
Well,
That's all I gotta say.
hey, each their own, man. I'm in Tennessee. They don't require a lot here in Tennessee. They actually do require seatbelts, so let's see. Let's pull up the new Buick logo though. Damn it. You mother. There it is. I was gonna say, you mother effer. There is the new Buick logo, which is kind of funny to me. The irony of this being a very popular brand in China, but yet you have the red, white, and blue in their logo. Something strange about that one. But so this logo here, I actually have that. That's what I was looking for. I don't know if my cat stole it or what's going on, but I have the badge off my little Buick Skyhawk. But I will say they've refreshed it. It looks good. Is it enough to save a brand? Probably not. I mean, I think you probably could have just completely just put Buick there and people would be happy. My grandparents would have been happy with that.
My parents were sporting a Buick, and my God, it's horrible.
Really?
It's that little tiny thing they got now. I think they only have like one or two models.
Really? Yeah, I haven't. That's a brand that I haven't kept up with in a long time.
It's those little crossover, CUV type scooters.
Yeah. Well, you look at this logo here that I've popped up. That looks a lot better. I will say that looks a lot better versus that. So definitely, that's old school, and so no, I think this definitely looks better than that. So maybe the brand will kick back in again. Automotive manufacturers. It was even in that article that Ford was the CEO of Ford was talking about. He thinks that in 10, 15 years that you're going to start seeing less manufacturers. And I've said this for probably 5 years now that I think that the market, all these manufacturers are going to kind of implode and just each suck each other up. And, maybe you have a Chevrolet and a Cadillac and that's about it from GM. And I could see Buick kind of going away in the United States and fading away. It happened to Mercury. Lincoln is always on those strange with Ford. They're always like, do they sell enough to really exist? Because do you want the Navigator or the Explorer? And most people buy the Explorer. That's more affordable, and you get, in many cases, you get the same features as you would in the luxury vehicles now.
The Explorer?
Which I'm not sure which one the Navigator is based on right now, Tim.
Expedition.
There you go. See, that's why you're here, man. You keep me straight.
Do they still have the truck?
No, I don't think so at all. That horrible looking had the stripes down the side, and no, that thing.
I don't know. I just remember seeing a big Lincoln truck rolling down the highway.
I don't think brands like that need trucks. I think Ford was doing okay without the extra 2 sales they got a year for that thing. Easy, Tim, with the conversation tonight, buddy. Oh, we got Choppy Tim. There he is. There's Tim again.
All right, I don't know. Is it me? Is it you? Is it?
It's not me, Tim. It's not me. I promise you. It's me. It's not you.
Comcast. I was typing away on those dark web websites about Comcast again.
Yep. Mobile says the Blackwood is what those were called. Yeah, I know Doug DeMuro did about a couple months ago. He did a review on one of those Blackwoods, and they were interesting. I'll say that. What else, Tim? What else did you have to talk about?
So there was another article that did I send it to you about the BMW
You did. Let me hold it.
testing one's
Yeah,
advanced battery? Now
yeah.
this was the story itself. I don't really. I mean, it's kind of cool. Okay, it's another vehicle. They've done it with, I guess, Tesla.
Hmm.
What I really liked, what I saw down towards the bottom of the article, um, was essentially that they're basically working on using different materials, chemistry, I think is what they refer to it as, for the batteries, and cutting out a lot of the stuff that's one harmful or more harmful.
Well,
Cobalt.
like what?
I think it was
What's
like what did they say? The cobalt, the nickel, and the lithium. Um, yeah, cobalt, nickel, graphite, and lithium. Um,
yeah, right here?
reducing
One
as much as they're using in a traditional battery, I think was what it
right.
was, and then using some other materials, and I think, and then they're also looking at I think in the BMW they're trying to get about 600 plus miles on a charge. I believe the Tesla, they said they were getting close to 700.
See, you get into the we'll say 600-mile range, which practical is probably like 480. Once you turn AC on and everything, then
Yeah,
we're talking
yeah,
with EVs. And then
yes.
also it needs to charge within give me 2 hours max, and it's nearly fully charged.
I I don't I don't disagree. I think the one thing where it's really going to find its adoption into the American family is I want to be able to drive the day. And
Mhm.
whatever that is, if you got kids, it may not be as long. If it's just, a couple adults in a car, and maybe you're going a lot further. But, I want to be able to have a vehicle that I can get from point A to point B,
Mhm.
stop for the night, maybe charge it overnight,
Yeah.
and then have a full vehicle ready to go the next day. But I don't know, if you're doing it every couple hundred miles, how long does it take to charge? Maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe it's, you go to Bucky's and hang out for an hour or whatever it is while you're
Well, you
charging up.
definitely can spend an hour at Buc-ee's easily.
And maybe they utilize that. So, you got the 600 pumps out in front of Bucky's.
Yeah.
Maybe off to the side, they put,
Like 2 chargers.
well, 10 or 11. I don't know. Bucky's, they'll do it all up.
Yeah.
And,
Well,
and have it so you can go. I mean, to me, that's the thing that would hold me back from an EV. If I'm just tooling around town, back and forth commuting to work, that's one thing. But if I want to try to go anywhere with it, if I want to go down to see Dave and go to Windrock, what is that? That's 300-400 miles.
yeah.
Am I going to be able to make it to charge? I'm pushing it.
Yeah. Yeah, depending how much weight you have in the vehicle, what are you
Yeah, and
carrying,
then we're not going out to dinner that night. We have
Well,
to
no.
order in.
Well, but hopefully the guy that you order from has his car fully charged to get the pizza there, that
Absolutely. But if he is driving a Ford Lightning, he could charge my vehicle from it.
Ooh,
That's what I
that
heard.
that's a plus. Hopefully, old TC Customs doesn't run his Lightnings dead. They seem kind of heavy. Um, man, I've been seeing the Rivians going down Interstate 24 here like crazy. They are pumping some Rivians out now.
Did I read somewhere that they might have another model coming out?
I don't know. They've
I
got the SUV is due to be launched anytime now.
maybe that's what I saw.
So there's the RT one, and I forget what they call the SUV version of it, but no, they're starting to crank out. Of course, they're trying to get their plant in. They would like their plant in Georgia to kick in, so they
Mhm.
could let the Illinois plant feed the West Coast, and I think the Georgia plant feed the East Coast. But I'm that little company. Hopefully, they survive. That's like my beloved Canoe. Hopefully, they survive. I'm starting to see Canoe starting to show some more actual production looking vehicles out there. But then you got Ford and these guys just gobbling up all the money now for EV. But does
Uh,
Canoe, kind of wrap it back into the credits? do companies like Canoo, that's where they benefit, and then they're valuable to companies like GM and Ford because they can go, let's go buy them up just for their tax credits.
I don't know if they get tax credits. I think a lot of those weren't even around when that was initially done. So I'm not sure about those, the other companies outside the ones that were in place.
I'm pretty sure Rivian does because I feel like I've seen them talk about it.
But it seems to me, and I keep going back. Remember, these companies aren't auto manufacturers; they're technology companies that are building technology on a platform that goes down the road. And most technology companies are essentially spun up and built for the purpose of being bought out.
Oh, I definitely think
that is
yeah.
in my industry. That's the goal of every startup company, is to get a bunch of initial funding, get something up, get some people in there to make it happen, become attractive, so they get bought up by one of the large companies.
Yeah,
and that is the model. And those people that started that, they'll stick around for a while, whatever they're obligated to contractually, and then they step out and they go start something else.
right. Well, here, this is from May 18th on the Drive, and I did a quick search of the credit thing, see if something pops up about them. But I love this little thing. I think it's just fun looking.
Dude, that is ugly.
I know I didn't say it was pretty.
No, it's fugly.
I
it's
like
ugly.
I like quirky vehicles. Let me see if I can find something better. I like quirky vehicles, and this one's definitely up my quirky style that I like. But I don't know if they do. Maybe they don't get the. Let's see. That's Forbes. That's the fairly recent.
I think Mobile Moto said something about filming an episode of Bang Bus in that canoe.
Oh, that's funny. Let's see. Where you at, Canoo? You're not popping up on the the federal tax credit things. Maybe not. But I like that little vehicle a lot, man. I think that their problem is they've been holding on to this 250 mileage range forever. 300 horsepower and 250, and then companies like Ford have already been like, we can get you 380. GM's talking about 400. And it's now the little Canoo's just not a practical. It's kind of like what the Nissan Leaf is, in a sense. That first gen Leaf was like, we can get you 90 miles on a charge.
Yeah.
And you were like, well, that'll get me back and forth to work a couple of days. And now that's a joke. I think even their current the generation Leaf is, as far as charging and stuff, is not, the mileage isn't great. 200 miles, maybe, it sounds like.
Yeah, I hope that one day there's a standardization of mileage with EVs that, as far as battery life, and because they fudge those numbers. And
Oh God, yeah. Well,
they fudge it with cars too, but
yeah, miles per gallon is completely fudged. I've had cars that do better for some reason, and I've had cars that wouldn't come close to it in what they're rated.
I think I saw a video on that one time.
I probably saw 2 videos on that.
It could have been youtube.com/ All Terrain Nation.
Well, or Overlanding for Fun.
Never heard of that guy.
Let's see. What is the average commute for the workers in the United States? Well, let's see if that pops up on the old Googles.
That's interesting. God, that could be so across the board.
Yeah, I
was just looking at it the other day. I pretty much work out of my house now, right? So I still go, and we have 2 data centers that I have to occasionally go to. And the farthest one I went there the other day. It was 50 miles one way, 100 miles round trip. And that's actually where my office was at before we shifted. But
there goes Tim again. Bronco Santa's frozen. Bronco 78. What I've quickly come on Google, it says the average is 41 miles a day. So that's and like Tim was saying, but Tim, I could do 300 miles a day pretty
But
easily.
that's not necessarily, well, it depends on how you look at it, right? You're not commuting to work per se.
I'm commuting for work.
You're
Yes.
commuting for work, and that's a little bit different,
Oh no, I think I'm 4 miles to my office, and
Uh,
I love every
yeah,
minute of
yeah,
it.
yeah. I mean, I had a buddy of mine here in town that worked for FedEx, and he literally from the FedEx hub at the airport
Mhm.
took a trailer to the other side of Ohio and met a guy coming from like New York from a
Right.
hub there with a trailer. They swapped trailers and then he drove them back. That was his job every day, and
Wow.
how, whatever it is, 150, 200 miles, 400
Yeah.
miles round trip.
I I had a guy that I used to work with every so often. He was in land development, but he worked for UPS and he drove to from Nashville to Knoxville every day. Drove there, loaded up, drove back. That was his every day for 5 days a week, man. And that would kill me. Commutes like that would drive me insane.
I don't know how they do that.
Takes a special person, I think, for that.
I hate driving down the block, let alone.
Well, Tim, you got to, we're a car channel. You got to talk about cars
No,
every
no.
once in a while.
Well, no, I like cars. Don't get me wrong. I just, if it's more than 6 hours, I'd rather fly.
I'm getting more spoiled with flying, definitely.
And
Because I was thinking today, my buddy Luke's out at Moab right now, and I was supposed to be out there, and he sent me some pictures, and I thought, shit, I bet I could fly out there for a day
I bet you
and
could.
get a day of fun in there. But then I was like, nah, I've done that. I've done Moab. I've flown out to Moab and spent a few days, but no, it's wouldn't be that much fun. I want
Now,
my Bronco out there.
I was just thinking about something. I saw this, and because I used to fly a lot for the pandemic, not so much anymore, but I do have a trip with the
COVID
book
stole your
to
wings.
San Francisco here in a couple, well, in the end of August. But I think I saw Airplane Mike in here. Something I was reading, especially out on the West Coast. I think he's out on the West Coast. It seemed like they were doing a lot of trials with electric engines for planes, especially on the a lot of the commuter flights. They've got so many out that way.
Man, that sounds
Um,
scary to me. Can you imagine the how much battery it would take to for electric engine, and then for
I don't
whatever to
know.
lose propulsion, and then that's a heavy
No,
ass.
they glide. They glide. Come on now.
Oh yeah.
They
John
glide.
says he drives from Mount Juliet, Tennessee to Laredo, 1,118 miles, 6 times a week. Him and his wife are they're team drivers for a semi truck.
Oof,
You sir
man.
deserve a medal. That's a tough one. You know what though? What's funny with truck drivers? I used to get a lot of them with my Nissan podcast, and
Yeah.
I had a few of them when I quit doing the podcast. They were like, "Man, I was like, well, I'm doing YouTube now," and he's like, "Yeah, but I can't have that playing in the truck." I'm
So
like, "Sorry."
I'm going to make a proposal, and I know Dave, you had talked about, people talking about wanting to, maybe if they wanted to come on and we could have them in and
The
talk
golden
about it.
ticket, yeah,
John Burnett here. I just read that he drives 118 miles. Him and his
1,100.
wife team drive. That'd be interesting if him and his wife could come on and we could talk about that for a little bit, because I think that's an interesting dynamic. It's one thing just, you're working, but now you're with your spouse. So I know you're going back and forth driving, but how is that, one? But two, is it cool?
Well,
I don't
so
know.
funny thing. So
I, I hate to put John on the spot there, but
I helped a Toyota podcast get going, and the guy that ran it did it.
Mhm.
Him and his wife were team drivers, and he would record his podcast from the steering wheel of his vehicle when it was stopped. He had
Yeah.
his little setup where he could clip the mic onto the steering wheel, and he would record his podcast that way. Interesting people, man. Jason's a good dude. No, that would be a fun conversation to talk sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't escape your spouse, Mobile says. Oh, and Tim, you're now on the TSA list according to Mobile.
I was already on there. Just remember, it's not gay if it's TSA.
That's
Talking
right.
about every time.
That's right. I love
Every
that.
time they want to pat me down.
That picture of that dude in that shirt. Have you seen that meme where he has
Oh
that
yeah.
shirt? It says
Yeah.
that. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, good times. Good times there. So, Tim,
Yeah.
That's about my energy level for tonight
Yeah.
for the automotive world. I've had a
Was there
pretty.
anything else good? I thought there was something else that we.
I feel like you nailed. You.
Oh no, there was one.
Oh,
There was one
what
other
was it?
one.
What was
It
it?
was it's a concept that Nissan's doing, and it's in that list of things I sent you. It's probably up towards the top. It's right underneath the one about the silence, the cabin noise.
VR.
Yeah.
Well, let's see what we got here.
So one of the things that as we're talking, certain manufacturers, things are kind of looking at changing that face of the dealership.
Mhm.
And what's that going to look like in a few years if the traditional dealer model is going away? Now Nissan has built a dealership in VR, in virtual reality.
Right.
So now it doesn't have all the aspects. You can't replicate everything, the test drive, stuff like that. But I guess it's a pretty good facsimile of uh, going in, looking around, being able to sit down, check out the vehicle, sit in virtually inside of it, check the
Right.
layout out and stuff like that. And I thought that was kind of an interesting
Well,
thing
they've
there.
played with this a couple years ago. I used to obviously I covered the Nissan brand for a long time, but I would cover their Japanese releases, product
Mhm.
releases, and they've toyed with this a little bit where they were early in this. They were having some virtual reality stuff there. You could I want to say it was when the last Leaf came out. Um, but yeah, no, I'll definitely need to read into this a little bit more and check that out. But I know they have toyed with this at auto launches where you had a little bit of virtual reality.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah, I thought it's kind of a neat thing, and just kind of tying back into what's the future of the dealership going to look like, um, going forward in 10 or 15 years.
Right. Well, I've on the some of this stuff that I've talked about with Ford going to direct sales and stuff. Of course, they've had some backlash a little bit with that, and then they've had to have their PR team go, "Well, no, this is what he meant. We're not
Mhm.
completely going away." Um, No, we're definitely like, I think the next 25 years is just gonna be mind-blowing. I think if we could jump to the future right now and be like, "Holy shit, that's how people buy cars now," or they're not buying the cars, they're, doing month-to-month lease programs or whatever they're doing. Um, no, it's gonna be crazy, dude. It really is. And, I also wanted to say before we go too, I've starting to put some of these up as podcasts. So there is an All Terrain Nation. It's just getting the feeds just starting to get to all the wherever you get your favorite podcast from. So if some of this stuff will be for your ears only, and maybe I can convince Tim to do a audio only version down the road, and we can do some fun that way. Tim, I've got coming up, man. What do you've got going on? Because I've got to work my ass off and get some content going.
Yeah, so I've actually kind of got moving again. Was doing some testing. I got these nice DJI
Yeah.
microphones, and man, I'll tell you what, I took them out. I was out in the woods, um, doing
Wait.
some
That just
video.
sounds bad.
I was filming some video.
Oh, okay.
One of the interesting things about these, and what I really liked, there was some people down. I was up on top of a ridge.
Mhm.
There were some guys down below with ATVs,
Mhm.
and they were ripping it. And I was just doing some testing, so I wanted that background noise to
Yeah,
happen.
yeah.
It
Yeah.
was it didn't even pick them up.
Wow, compressed it out, huh?
It just gone. I really like that. And then I also did some testing with the DJI. Not that
That
I'm a DJI
that
channel, but
looks
I'm starting to feel like I'm going to be one.
that looks like a
The
personal pleasure
the
device.
gimbal, yeah. Well, I'll be excited when the video gets out. So there you go. Uh, but I actually did some set it up on the hood of the truck, do
Mhm.
microphones. It uses that new whatever
Well, there we lost Tim again. Will he
version
be
40
back?
drone software.
Oh, there he is.
And we froze again.
There you are. There's Tim.
All right. And I was kind of interested being able to walk around and have the camera follow me and stay relatively centered in the frame, and good audio now. So I'm actually looking forward to doing some videoing at Supercell, Wisconsin.
Oh, so
Coming
you're
up
you're
July
going up
6th,
there.
17th. Like, well, I've already committed to it.
Well, there's
Dave.
been a few that's committed to it. And I'm not one of those that have committed to it. My
It's
understanding
only for
is,
the cool kids. That's all I got to say.
well, you just send it, sir.
Uh,
My
I'll
understanding
send
is
it.
that it's a lot like Gatlinburg, Tennessee, the little area that it's in. So, yeah, I'm sure it'll be a fun time. I've got too much traveling, man. I've got. Oh God, I was looking at my schedule the other day. Let's see, because people are like, "Hey, man, you want to go wheeling in July?" And I'm like, I don't know.
Speaking of that, when is the because it came up last night, when is that ladies Bronco off rodeo?
July something, dude. I don't know. I'm not a
July
lady.
something. Is that the are we still going to try to do an all-terrain nation?
Well, there's no all-terrain nation, nothing of that. I'm not trying to make any sort of event. People show up, they wheel. Yeah, we may throw something.
Okay, now let me rephrase that. An all-terrain nation meetup.
Maybe, yes, maybe.
At an off-roading park.
Like yes.
For everybody's enjoyment.
Right.
There we go.
Yeah.
So no commitments to anything other than just showing up.
Right. No, so let's see. August, man. I know for one thing, I'm slammed August. I'm supposed to be in Detroit. I'm supposed to be in Gatlinburg again for a Jeep invasion thing.
At least you have a vehicle to take.
Well, for now. I did put the Jeep up for sale today.
Okay.
But no, I'm driving the Bronco over there no matter what. That should be fun to go to a Jeep invasion with it. That's something these off-road events I think are going to have to start accepting. That I know people like to call them Jeep events because they were the only game in town for a long time. But you got to be a little more. We're an inclusive society now, Tim, and you got to be inclusive to all the brands, right?
I agree. So I was cruising down and I got a little from a Jeep guy today. Got the little finger. Yeah,
wait,
I got fingered by the Jeep guy, and okay. I kind of blushed for a moment, and I didn't know what to do with myself because he initiated the fingering, and I didn't know how to reply back. I was a little
shocker. Was it a shocker?
How's that go again?
I'm not going there.
I don't know. Something like that.
Doing the pink one, the stink, something like that. I don't know.
We'll have to get the guy. We'll have to get Shocker Racing on again and have him show us how to do that.
That's right. Well,
they're supposed out of the.
They're in Moab right now too, man.
So are they really?
They are, dude. All my friends are in Moab, and I'm just like, damn it. So, but my son got his wrap off today, and dude, they cut this from about right here all the way down to here on this side of his arm, and the same thing on this side of his arm to put those plates in his arm. He's gonna have some nasty scars,
man.
But chick stick scars, what I hear.
That is true. Just don't let him see that video of how that happened.
Yes, no.
That's so anticlimactic.
I know.
He needs to come up with a good sea story.
I showed a guy at work that video today, and he was like, "Really?" Yeah. I was like, "Yeah, we're not bragging about it."
I am kind of offended, Dave. You mentioned that all your friends are out in Moab, and here I am sitting with you online.
You're at the beach. I can't help where you're at.
No, that's true.
So, guys, whether it be 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, it does not matter what you drive. Sorry, my energy level has been a little low tonight.
And I'm not the guy Dave's going to drive.
That's right. No driving Bronco Santa. The heat has got me beat this week, but we will be back next week. I've got some Frontier content. I've pitted the Frontier against the Gladiator, which I think video is coming up this coming week, and that should be a fun video because they're both about the same price range, but they're just completely different vehicles, but they're the latest offerings in the mid-size truck market. So that should be a fun video for everybody. As always, we got plenty of Bronco content here. And till next time, Tim, it's good to see you again, buddy.
See you.
All right. We'll talk to y'all next week. Later.
That's it.